Jeremy Lieboff again from Sobell Rhodes. I hope that you're well. This is the latest in our videos to try and keep all of our contacts and clients safe and secure as we all negotiate the coronavirus crisis. So this video is all about the fact that HMRC have brought their portal live for job retention scheme claims, and we promised that as soon as we had an idea of how it was working, we'd share that with you. So just to let you know, everything in here is correct as at the 22nd of April, but we know there are going to be constant updates, so we may have to come back to you as things change. But this is what it was as then. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So as usual, going to be short, sharp and snappy. Update on the job retention scheme. What you need to know is that since our first videos on the 6th of April, the 12th of April, the 17th of April, the HMRC portal is now live. Previous videos can be seen at our YouTube page, and you can just check out the first of those, which is just clicking up here in the corner. So the Sobell Rhodes, we've been using and testing the HMRC portal and giving some ideas as to what it is that it's like, and we wanted to share that with you. So other things we need to share with you other than some updates on the general guidance, but not too heavy on that one, I'm afraid. Well, I'm not afraid, I'm not too heavy on that one. And key points as to using the job retention scheme calculator and using the government gateway to make your job retention scheme claims. So the latest news in relation to the actual scheme itself is we now know that only one return can be made per claim period. Now, claim periods may tie in with your payroll periods. They may be shorter, they may be longer, but you can only do one return. The claims can be made in anticipation of an imminent payroll run, or at the point of making a payroll run, or after running a payroll run. So be aware of that, and you can backdate till the 1st of March 2020, unless, of course, you have employees that were furloughed after the 1st of March 2020. You can't go and make a claim before people were furloughed. Kind of obvious, but thought we'd throw it in there. But this is a key thing that we learnt on day one: no amendments. You need to check and check again. Check that you've got your information right when you're doing the calculation. Check that you've got the information right in terms of your employees. Check that you've got the information complete, because you can't go back and add bits on afterwards. And then check were you getting it right when you enter it into the gateway. So just be aware of that, because that's a big warning flag that we need to share with you. If you get it all right, your claims will be paid within 6 working days. So that's good news. So guidance that has been provided at the moment is which elements of pay are to be included with that 80% calculation, and which are being excluded. Now, I can't cover them all here because just seriously, there's just far too much, and you'd be here for a long time and we don't need to get into it. But as a headline, give you a bit of a taster: non-discretionary overtime. So overtime that you have to pay, that would be included when you're looking at your 80% threshold in terms of what you can claim against the job retention scheme. However, discretionary bonuses or benefits in kind, which are non-cash, they would not. So this is very much aimed at what people get in their pockets and what they are having to get in their pockets. So if you've got somebody who has got a salary sacrifice, taking a company car instead of cash, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to factor that in. You're going to be looking at that reduced salary. There's also some clarity that's been brought out in terms of the way that holiday pay is dealt with under the job retention scheme claims, but the HMRC have said this will be under constant review because of the constant changing nature of the current crisis. Equally, treatment in terms of statutory sick pay, statutory paternity pay, sick pay, and a number of other circumstances, again the list is longer, has been released in the latest guidance. So what is the process? Actually, it's just 2 steps, if I'm totally honest with you. The first step is calculate out the claim. This can be done by referring to the guidance, all 17 pages of it, and you can go through the example. There's an awful lot of examples that cover a number of different circumstances to help you with that particular area. We've been through it. We started to boil it down so that we can understand it and process it as quickly as possible. There is also the opportunity to use the HMRC online calculator, and you can find that by Googling job retention scheme HMRC online calculator, or JRS HMRC online calculator in your favorite search engine. Not going to advertise anyone in particular because there is more than one, believe it or not. Anyway, you can make your claim That's step 2. And you can do that yourself, or you can use your PAYE agent, but remember that's your full PAYE agent. We discussed that in a previous video, and you need to make sure that either you or your agent have got, first of all, a government gateway online login account, and also the PAYE online module. So you need those 2 things. Come on to that in a second. So the calculator, let's deal with that first. Actually, the usability of the calculator and visually, it's actually very nice. It's quite easy to follow. You do need a little bit of payroll knowledge because of some of the questions that they ask, but you can drill down to get extra explanations if you need to. It was released on Monday the 20th, and it's being updated constantly. At the time of this video, it could only handle fixed salary situations when there was no top-up. So clearly HMRC had gone for the low-hanging fruit in terms of getting that particular element out the way, and they're working on the additional bits as we go. So by the time you watch this, the functionality may well have increased. But as I say, when we were looking at it, 22nd of April, it was really only handling people with a fixed salary, so no variable salaries, and those who are not getting anything topped up above the 80%. Okay, so updates are due to be run all the time because they want to expand it to cover more employment circumstances. Kind of makes sense. At the moment, it doesn't cover things such as, like I said, variable pay, but employees who are on SMP, returning from SPP, people who are directors' payments, 2P transfers, a whole load of others. But of course, as they keep it going, we're expecting those things to come in due course. Be aware, the calculator can only allow you to do a calculation for 1 employee at a time. So if you've got 4 or 5 employees, it takes 5 to 10 minutes, then okay, that's doable. But if you've got a number of employees, running those calculations independently could be a very time-consuming exercise. Just making you aware of that. Where the calculator does not do the calculation, you'll have to be able to do that independently. We are doing that for a number of our clients because of the sheer number of permutations, and we've built our own system so we can do a number of calculations very quickly as compared with having to go through the website, which involves going through a number of different pages consistently, because we're on top of that, and our team have tested it and checked it against the HMRC calculator, which we're very, very comfortable with as a standard. This allows us to undertake calculations quickly and fast and easily, and get our clients paid as quickly as possible, which, apart from anything else, helps to reduce stress. We hope if we can contribute to that, then that's great, but also make sure that our clients are getting cash in their pocket from work that we're doing in this particular regard. Because whilst, as I say, for small companies it may be easy, when it gets a bit more complicated it can be overwhelming. That said, the online calculator experience, let's have a quick look at that. Basically, you go in, you're asked a load of questions, you find out what it is, whether or not it's valid or whatever else, and then what you do is you're asked a few bits of bobs. How often do you pay your clients? And then you get this question: how is the employee paid? And now you've already gone through a number of screens. To be fair, there is some small print at the front kind of warning you, but it's small print. And then you've gone through all those screens so far. How is the employee paid? If right now you picked variable, then the next thing you get is that you're unable to do the calculation. So just be aware that that can happen. But anyway, let's say that it was a fixed rate. You then go through, you're putting in a load of other information as it goes along. You're building up the information relating to payroll, national insurance numbers, pension contributions, all of that, to then discover that if you are looking to top up the pay of your employees, then they can't do the calculation for that either. But let's say that it's a fixed salary and you're not topping them up, then it will give you this nice figure, and this is what you take, and you can take that for that employee, put it onto your workings, and then you're going to be building that up so you've got a number of different employees, each of whom you know the amount for their pay, the amount for their national insurance that you're going to be claiming back, more of that later, and the employee's minimum pension contributions, and you build those up. So that's good to know, to be honest with you. You then need to, once you've got that data, those 3 figures off of the calculator, you then need to sit down and actually finalize the calculation for what you're going to be doing for your claim. So they can be broken down, just so you know, the claims can be broken down into monthly, weekly and daily amounts. So if you've got, we know about the monthly amounts because they've been well publicized, but the weekly and daily amounts have been prorated and agreed by HMRC. So please be aware that if you would need to refer to their guidance on this, don't jump in and just just assume you know how to prorata it, because actually it's quite specific. Anyway, you do that. If you've got somebody who was furloughed and it covered bits of different payroll periods, so let's say that they were furloughed for 1 week at the end of March and then 2 weeks of April, and you're putting that claim in at the end of April, you can then do the calculation where you work out the March bit, you work out the April bit, you stick them together, and then you can use that as one figure. You don't have to break it down into March and April if you're doing a claim for March and April together. So if you decide that you're going to do a claim every 2 months, for example, then you can add those elements together for each employee and then have a total. Just by way of an example. If you can't use the online calculator, then please remember that when you're doing your own calculations, that there's employers' national insurance that you're able to make a claim on, and there is also employers' pension contributions up to the statutory minimum that can be claimed as well. And actually, that doesn't matter whether it is an auto-enrollment pension or another pension for which the company, the employer, is making contributions as well. So that's a good thing. Again, it's money in your pocket, so make sure you don't miss out on that. But don't forget the employer's allowance. If you've got a situation, especially as we're in April and May, the first few months of the year, whereby you've got your employer's national insurance is reduced or absolutely wiped out by the employer's allowance, please make sure you calculate that in, because you cannot claim employer's national insurance where you've got the employer's allowance reducing it. You have to do the calculation to make sure that you've got that right when you're doing the calculations, especially if it's a partial reduction, because that makes it more difficult, because you're only doing a partial claim, I suppose, if you look at it that way. Anyway, once you've done that, you've got your numbers, you're happy with your numbers, you're then going to go and make your claim. You must have a government gateway ID and password. So this is basically an online account to the gateway. You may well have this already, but if not, I recommend getting it anyway. It takes a few days, but it really is, because it gives you access to a whole load of government pages and online services, which really are designed to make your life easier, especially if you can't get out, send letters and all that kind of stuff at the moment as much as you would have done previously. You must also be enrolled for PAYE online. So the government gateway is like a kind of a virtual corridor, and off of it are lots of different doors, and you need to have access to the door for PAYE online. So if you haven't, you've got access to the corridor already, maybe you've got the other access to VAT, you want to go back and get enrolled for PAYE online. Otherwise, you cannot make a claim. Simple as that. You also need to have the address that your bank account is registered at. That's not the bank itself, like High Street, whatever. It's the address for your bank account where it's registered. It's not on the previous information released by HMRC. We've discovered that in using the portal. So it might be your business address, it might be your home address, but be aware that you need that. I'm sure it's not going to be difficult or challenging, but just be aware. So that's important. You then go in, you're logged in, you're ready to make your claim, and it goes through some small print and a bit more small print and then a little bit more small print. And then it says, are you an employer who submits a company tax return? So companies are going to say yes. But if you say no because you're not a company, then you might get asked whether you're a self-employed employer, under self-assessment, that's sole traders, or whether you've got a company's house registered number. But if, let's assume on this particular case that it is a company that we're talking about, just for ease, you then go through, you start putting in information about the employer and the claim that you want to make, the periods that it relates to, a whole load of different questions. You have to confirm things. You then answer some more questions. You confirm some more things. You check things. You enter in the employee's information, not their pay information, but their personal information. So we're talking about national insurance numbers, names, that kind of thing. You have to enter those in one by one. And again, although they only take a few minutes each, it's a lot of typing, and if you've got like a number of different employees, just be prepared. It's going to be a long session. Just telling you, if you've got 100 employees or greater on a furlough claim, you can use a CSV upload and a couple of other formats as well. Check that out on the website, on the HMRC guidance as well. Anyway, so we've uploaded our information. For the example I put in here, it's only 2 employees, and you then go through, you talk about the bank account so that you can get your money in, various other things, confirm those, lots of confirmations in doing this, who they're going to contact. You go through that, then you get to review your answers. You get to review them again, and finally you can confirm them and submit them. And that's the process. So there's a lot in there. It's a little bit like some of those old choose your own adventure books, for those of them that remember. There's lots of yeses and nos, which could take you in different directions, but generally speaking, it should be fairly simple to follow, if not time consuming, because it's a manual process. You're going through it page after page, re-entering certain stuff in terms of the employees, similarly in the calculator, doing it one by one. So just be aware of that. The company stuff you enter into the one time. Anyway, I've gone on for that. After the claim has been submitted, please make sure you retain your records and your workings. Whilst HMRC are going to do some cursory checks before they release any money, there is the possibility they may come back and check the absolute details behind each of these claims at a later stage, much like any other investigation or any other query, whether it be VAT or PAYE. So make sure you keep all your workings so that it's available and easy to follow. You've made your claim. HMRC will then process that through, and they'll pay it by backs into the bank account provided in your submission. That's quite easy. If you haven't done it already, you should pay your employees. Some people will be doing it in advance of their PAYE payroll period, so that they've got the money coming in 6 working days before they pay them, which is absolutely fine. They said imminently. Others will have paid their employees, and then they're going to be taking the grant money to cover what they've laid out in terms of the grant. All the money that comes from the grant is either for the employee or to cover national insurance or pensions. There's nothing else that can be taken out of that, and it's all in line with the calculations you've done. And don't forget that you must also arrange or ensure that you report the amount of the grant that is received and paid over in the RTI submission. It's treated in the same way as you would be in terms of paying anyone their normal payroll in terms of their RTI submission. If you would like help of Sobell Rhodes in some of this, then we're absolutely there and available. Our tax department have a dedicated team who are helping a number of our clients at the moment. We're providing services to help them prepare their claims, because ultimately what we're doing is we're helping them get some cash in their pockets and as quickly as possible. That's basically what it's about. You can speak to our tax director, Tim Knight, directly, or speak to anyone in our tax department from the usual telephone number, which is hopefully on the screen now. Alternatively, you can contact through our dedicated email address. You don't need to contact our payroll department. We've got it set up nice and smoothly. Payroll department are making sure people get paid, and the job retention scheme people in the tax department, they are making sure that people are able to claim back their job retention scheme claims. So one lot paying, one lot reclaiming, so that we can all get on with it as quickly as possible, and get everybody sorted as needs to be done. So hopefully that's useful to you. I know that I've covered an awful lot, and I've covered it fast, but I do that on purpose. If you watched our other videos, you know I do it on purpose. These are headlines here. There are some live Q&A sessions coming up, which are going to be covering various different topics. So look out for those in your email inbox. If you get any of those and you want to join us, then absolutely just hit reply, and we can make sure we get you onto one of our live Q&A sessions, which are proving to be quite helpful, and people are enjoying. Also, if you get the opportunity, you might find it useful to subscribe to our video channel, or to have a look at our channel relating to specifically a playlist for videos on this particular topic, although we have a number of other topics available. Above all, to be honest with you, you've got to stay safe, got to look after yourselves, and hopefully we'll have some more updates for you very, very soon. Thank you very much for bearing with me, and have a good day.